What's going on, everybody? Jumping into a video today going over 5 secrets to the elitefts SS Yoke Bar that I promise you that you are not utilizing in your training and that I can guarantee will help you get a bigger and better squat. All right, here we go. SS Yoke Bar is a safety squat bar. What we mean by that is it's a squat bar that you can utilize if you have no arms, realistically. Hey, there we go, perfect. So one of the biggest benefits that you can utilize for this squat bar is the fact that, as you can see Alex here, he doesn't need his hands, he doesn't need his arms. This is great for athletes, such as throwing athletes or anybody with any sort of shoulder impairment or impingement, where they can't really get into that back squat position. It's also a fantastic tool to work and utilize your upper back more in a squat. One of the secrets of the SS Yoke Bar is the handles, right? What you're gonna see a lot of people do is when they go down into the squat, so we'll show Alex here, go down into the squat, and when it gets tough, they start to push the handles up, which kind of starts deloading the movement a little bit. That's not the purpose of the SS Yoke Bar. The SS Yoke Bar is designed to push you forward and to challenge that upper back in a much more efficient way than a normal back squat would. So when you're utilizing this yoke bar, what I want you to really focus in on is with your hands, pulling those handles down actively the whole time. That's gonna do a couple different things. First and foremost, it's going to make sure that upper back is locked in and activated. Also, it's going to be driving that rib cage down into a more stable position, thus increasing that brace and forcing you to resist that flexion that that bar is gonna wanna push you into. So when you're going to be utilizing this bar, remember pulling those handles down, locking in that upper back, driving those lats out, stabilizing that core. And what we're gonna see here is Alex do a rep, keeping those handles driving down the whole time. The purpose of this bar is to make it more difficult than a regular squat. For strongmen, this is an absolute imperative piece of equipment because you're always gonna find yourself in a position picking up a stone, picking up a sandbag, anything from the floor where your upper back needs to get stronger. So to kind of breeze through this one more time, holding those handles, do not bring them up. We are focusing on pulling them down, stabilizing that core nice and tight, driving that pad, driving your shoulders into that pad, getting nice and tight, holding that position, driving up out of the hole. Secret 1, better utilize it. Secret number 2 to the SS Yoke Bar from elitefts. It's a fantastic way to do front squats. I know, we've been going over a lot of stuff with front squats and all these lifts that nobody likes, but let's see what this looks like. And I can guarantee you, you'll start utilizing this more and more. So first and foremost, if you have an SS Yoke Bar here, you're gonna wanna turn it around, right? So normally this logo is on your back. Now what we're gonna do is turn it around in the rack, so now the logo is facing out. That's rule number 1. Rule number 2, what you're gonna be doing, you're gonna get underneath the bar, crossing those arms over in front, just like you would a normal front squat. The cool thing about this is that this is way more comfortable, right? Obviously, it's not going to be the exact same for a front squat because the camber on this bar is putting it more towards the center, your center of gravity. But if you don't like front squats, don't like using regular bar, can't get into that position, this is a fantastic alternative to switch up your training and to get a lot more out of one bar. So how we're gonna do this, just like a normal front squat, we'll back it up. Again, you're really training the same sort of idea. You wanna keep that front rack position, you wanna keep those rib cage down, locked in nice and tight, knees come forward, drive it down, and driving those elbows up to the ceiling. You can rack it. Very simple. This is a fantastic way to change your training, change the intensity of your training, switch things up a little bit, utilizing the same bar, which is the biggest thing if you're a garage gym owner or if you're somebody that has limited equipment or a limited budget for equipment. Getting the most out of the equipment that you do buy is the best thing you can possibly do. So give these SS Yoke Bar front squats a try in your training today. All right, guys, here we go. Secret number 3 for the SS Yoke Bar. Zercher carries or Zercher squats. Another awesome variation for squats that can help you build that upper back, especially for my strongman athletes. So just like we were doing before, you can have the bar facing forward, backward, doesn't necessarily matter. But for today, we want to make sure that camber is facing forward. We want more force pushing you forward and trying to get you out of position. So you have to stabilize that and control it the whole time. First and foremost, I would suggest if you're going to be doing these, we'll take the handles off. So another little sub-secret for you. These handles come off of the SS Yoke Bar. Why do we take the handles off when we're doing Zerchers? Because I don't want you to stab yourself in your private parts. What you're going to be doing, anytime you're doing any sort of a front carry or a front hold, you want to make sure that you're locked in. There's as much of a point of contact on this bar as you can. Crossing those arms out in front of you, squeezing as hard as you can, standing straight up and walking back. Good. Now with this, obviously, you're going to have to worry about these. So we're going to have to be able to essentially treat it kind of like a front squat. So you want to make sure that the weight is going to be going between your legs as opposed to trying to do a closer squat. So we'll get it a little wider. Again, same idea, stabilizing that core rib cage down, squeezing that thing as hard as you possibly can, down and up. Perfect. Rack it. As you can see, it's a fantastic variation if, again, you want to switch up your training or you want to get more out of a bar that you already have. If you are a strongman competitor, this is a fantastic variation to get better at stones, to get better at sandbags, to get better at anything strongman related, because that upper back and those lats cannot be strong enough. Anytime you're going to be holding that weight out in front of you, like I said before, it's going to want to flex you forward. This is a fantastic variation to teach you how to stabilize against that force and build a bigger squat, build a bigger log press, build a bigger whatever you need. So secret number 3, let's jump on to secret number 4. The Hatfield squat. So again, I mentioned this before, one of the benefits of the SS Yoke Bar is that it's going to stay on your back. You technically don't need hands for it. And we are going to fully utilize that for a Hatfield squat. For those who don't know, Hatfield squat is a hand-assisted squat inside of a rack utilizing a weight on your back. SS Yoke Bar, perfect tool for the job. So when you're setting up for a Hatfield squat, you want to think about where your hands are. You also want to put them in a position where it's going to be comfortable to hold on. There you go. You want to bring them a little bit lower than you feel comfortable. The reason for this is because you're going to be coming down. So Hatfield squat, what you want to be doing is you don't want to be utilizing your hands entirely. What you want to be utilizing is mostly your legs and assisting with your hands. Good, perfect. As you can see, we're actually sitting a little bit farther back than we would with our hips, so it's less of a quad dominant movement, and we're trying to get to the hamstrings and the hips and the glutes. You're obviously going to feel this in your quads, but the idea is we want to sit back as far as we can, and when we start to kind of get a little bit fatigued, we can use those hands to really drive ourselves up. So now in this one, I want your feet a little bit more forward. Bring them forward, and I want you to sit those hips back even farther. Try to keep those shins more vertical. There we go. Now we're really hammering those legs. And this is a fantastic variation because you are externally stabilized that you can utilize as an accessory movement. So a lot of people that have garage gyms or have home gyms don't have machines, right? So this is a fantastic way to get a lot of volume in where you're externally stabilized and can get closer to that point of failure for those muscles. This is something that can also be overloaded, right? For a max effort movement, it can be utilized for a lot of different things. But again, this variation is really, really awesome for utilizing your SS Yoke Bar because as you can see, Alex just standing there, that bar does not move. And as you add weight to it, it's gonna sink down farther and farther and farther, and again, will not move off your shoulders. If you're doing these with any other type of bar, best of luck to you because that sounds like a death wish. So that was secret number 4. Let's jump into the last secret of the SS Yoke Bar, which is actually for your upper body. So here we go. I know everybody loves squatting, everybody loves deadlifting, but let's be real, everybody loves benching far more. So how do we utilize the yoke bar for benching? Well, as you can see here, what we're gonna be utilizing is the handles off mode for the SS Yoke Bar. So make sure, again, you take these handles off. And we're gonna be doing a JM press. So what I'm gonna have you do, unrack the bar, And if you have seen our video with JM explaining the JM press, this will not be an exact replica to that JM press, but it is a fantastic variation that you can utilize in your training. Again, only using one bar. Here we go. So what we're gonna be doing is you're gonna be lowering the bar to your chest until the handles touch, and then you're gonna be rolling it over, pressing up, and repeating. Very simple, very straightforward. This is a fantastic way to get the same pattern with that JM press, making sure you're going through the same range of motion every single time, which you may not be able to do with a regular bar. So when you're just learning this movement, this is a fantastic variation to do, because again, it's kind of got training wheels on it. As soon as you feel this touch your chest, roll that bar back towards your face and go again. So again, when you're doing something like this, first time doing it, don't worry about the weight, get the motion down. But this is going to be a fantastic variation that you can utilize to blow up your triceps, boost your bench, and just impress everybody around you with just how massive your guns are. So that's all of our secrets for the SS Yoke Bar. 5 awesome secrets that you can utilize in your training to get a bigger squat, to get a bigger bench, get a bigger deadlift, get bigger everywhere that counts. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.